you for having an interview with us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
So the first question, can you provide us a brief overview of your background, your education and your experience as an architect?
Okay. So I studied in the Anand Sagar College of Architecture. This was I graduated in 2012. So that's my qualification. I'm a bachelor's degree holder for architecture.
Okay. Could you briefly tell us about how you started your firm and what are the difficulties you faced in the beginning?
Okay. So the moment I joined internship during my third year, I kind of recognized that there was a lot to learn in terms of the practical aspect of architecture and also the skill set that is required to be a good architect. So the journey started from internship when that recognition came through the internship program, and I continued working for a couple of firms while I was even studying. So I had like a good early start for that. Once I kind of understood that I got good skill set in what I was working on, then I started off the firm.
Okay. So did you start right after your
college? Yes, I did. So I started right after the college, and I was amidst a journey where I wanted to try doing my masters, but I started getting few projects, and then I got first project, which is 6K Isle of Man. It's called. It's a biking gear store. So one of my close friends, he knew I had the sense for design, and this is something I could relate to, a biking store, because I love my bikes and cars. I'm a petrol head. So we did that project, and it ended up being a really beautiful one. And that forced me also to open up a firm name and to make it professional, etc. And since then to now, it's been a journey, and we've always had work, so that's how it's been.
Okay. Did you open up your firm in a partnership, or it was a single proprietorship?
So initially I started off on my own, and Komal, who's my wife now, she joined me like a year or two later, and it's a partnership firm now. So initially it was on my own, I founded it. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of projects do you undertake, and do you have interest in taking up different kinds of projects?
So I think as an architect, you can't be choosy about the projects that you get. We love doing all sorts of projects. I think it's a challenge. Every genre of architectural approach is different, and every genre has its own understanding of a project and technicalities of a project. So it's very interesting to work on any project. Okay. And if you have your architectural or design ethos in a place and the steps with which you design a project, like your basics, when you're given a program, first what do? You do a study, case study, you do literature study, then you understand climatologically, then you understand how to bring the program zonally, then you understand what are the repercussions of the program and everything in a lot of aspects such as sociology, economy, the budget, social impact, then climatological impact, etc., etc. So these are the stepstones of doing any project. The moment you learn this, then you can crack any project. Okay. So I think it's very interesting to approach any project, and it gets technically challenging and different. So it keeps us going also. Otherwise, I think if you just do, like everyone does a lot of residential projects because there are a lot of residences that are required, and people kind of invest in doing residential projects because they are their dream homes and they've saved up from a long time and they've always dreamt of it, etc. So even though the market comprises of a large volume of residential projects, it gets monotonous after a point. So I think to kind of keep you excited, any project and every project is good.
Okay. What is your design philosophy while approaching a new project?
Okay. So we obviously love contemporary work, but we also like to bring in a lot of Indian art and local artisans into our work. We like to collaborate with them. So that would be the kind of style, and the philosophy is collaboration. Collaboration not only within the office, so we work on design ideas and opinions and inputs from everyone from office, right from an intern to the lead architect to us, the founders, etc. So it's a collaboration at that level. The second is collaboration with the client, trying to understand their program, and we try to reflect the design as per them. So we try to understand their requirement and try to reflect the project in their eyes or their way. The third is the people that you work with, the contractors. So it's very important what you envisioned as a design to finally make it happen as well. So you need to collaborate well with your workers and your contractors so that vision can be envisaged. So that's how it is. So our philosophy runs mainly on the collaborative work, and secondly, we try to reflect the client's personality and their requirement as much as possible in the project. So you will see throughout the different projects that we've done already, each one of them is very different, and it is the reflection of the client mainly.
Okay. Could you describe the core focus and specialization areas of your firm?
Okay, of late, the journey has been different. From the start, we've had like a lot of luxury homes that we've done. So over the time, I think we've specialized in that. We understand large home requirements better, and we try to specify and create those spaces in a very nice way. What I mean by that is homes can be very tailor-made to each person. So, and then there is no end to luxury, and definition of luxury for each person is very different. So for me, it could be comfort, which is luxury, or even a large garden is luxury for me in a city like Bangalore. So for a lot of others, it would be luxurious materials. For some people, it could be electronics. For some people, it could be marble or things like anything. So it's very different. But what we specialize in is to understand the client's requirement and how well we can bring in that understanding of luxury for their space. So I think we specialize in good homes, I would say.
How do you balance functionality and aesthetics in your design?
Okay. So functionality is the foremost important part of the way we practice. And also we try to balance aesthetics. So how we kind of do that is during the planning stage and during the way we envision the design, we try to keep it as functional as possible. I don't know how to exactly express, but somehow we found a way where the functionality is followed by aesthetic in a certain sense. And I think a lot of offices do that. The way you are able to find the way to represent aesthetics through the functionality is something which all design firms strive for. And it's also the similar way that we approach. So ultimately you get a balance of both.
Okay, so it's basically with experience and...
Yeah, it is through experience, and it is through how you approach and how you balance different, both the things to that specific program.
How do you involve clients in the design process?
So we don't like involving the client in the design process as much because I think too many cooks spoil the broth. It's we who design it. But what we do is we try to take as much as input as possible from the client. Especially if it's a home, then what happens is the client ends up using the space, right? So it has to be very clear that the space is for them and not for you. So we take their inputs of what their liking is and what they envision the space to be, but we design and reflect that in our own way. So that's how we design. We don't really take that design input as such.
Okay.
So do you provide the options to the clients? And
No. So, yeah, because from our experience, what happens is after we understand their program and requirement, what we give them first is the best option of what we feel ticks all the requirements that they've told. So it's not like or dikhao. No, that doesn't happen. Then that means you've not given too much of thought, and the design that you've already given in multiple options is not the best. So what we do is we focus on the best possible design that we can do. But obviously, because we are a consultant and we are service providers, you always have to think about the client, and if they really don't like it, try to tweak it or change the design. That's how it is. But we always attempt one good design that we feel will work.
Okay. What is the typical process you follow while initiating a new project?
I think I already expressed that some time back, but the design philosophy of how you design is basically you follow the footsteps of which you already are practicing in your classrooms. That's first you understand the case, you do a case study, you do a literature study, then you try to understand how the program can fit in within these studies that you've done, and then see all the different impacts that you get from climatology, sociology, economy, etc. And that's how you come to the design stage, I think. Yeah.
So what are the skill set a student should develop to become a key role in a firm?
Okay. So I think somewhere the younger generation has lost their way in everyone wants things to be very fast. It's like Maggi noodles. Like 2 minutes, you want something cooked, eat and go. But you know it's not healthy, it's not the best thing. So for good things to happen, you need to put in effort. You need to give in a lot of time. So for us, a person to fit in a key role in our firm is first most important point is that you need to be a good human. You need to have the right attitude in terms of learning. We all understand that we come from the same background, right, where we were students and we learned everything throughout our career and throughout this journey of architecture. But the most important part was that we had that attitude to keep learning, which we still do, and that's what we look for from a person. So when you join office, any office, you need to be a collaborator and you always have to be hungry to learn more and to do more. And if a person, in today's scenario, if someone comes to me and says, please leave that to me, I'll make sure that happens, then that's the best thing that I can hear from a person. Because taking responsibility and then working on it and making sure it happens is like complete commitment that you can have towards work. And that's the most important thing. So we try to look for younger students and people who may or may not have like crazy skill sets, but the right attitude and the right understanding of where they want to be, then they are part of our office. Yeah.
So when do you think it is the right time to open a firm?
Okay, so I don't mean to be discouraging to open a firm, but I did that when I was younger. So I opened up the moment I started getting projects, which was good in a way, but I also toiled before that to learn a lot and to gather skill set. In terms of doing your basic things like doing good drawings, understanding the project, seeing certain projects through completion, that makes you have a lot of confidence in understanding how to do it. So I started off initially, but then the first 5 years, my firm is 11 years old now, the first 5 years were of a journey to still understand how to do projects well. Like the basic things of communicating to site, getting the drawings in place, technicalities of different aspects of different subjects, right from plumbing to electrical to your MEPs, everything, okay, structure, etc. To even understand the basics and to kind of get to a point where you got it is like it took us 5 to 6 years. Post that the last 5 years are a journey to become a better entrepreneur. How do you monetize your architectural skills? And how do you monetize your consultancy service? So that's been the next 5 years of journey. If I had the experience that I have today, I would have done exactly what I suggested you guys some time back, that I would work in a very good firm for a while until I move up the ladder from being intern to a junior architect to a senior architect to a team leader, where a team lead would see through a lot of projects and would understand cohesively the different aspects of how a project is affected. Once you get to a stage where you learn that skill set and you're in that position where you can lead a team of people, I think that's the right time when you can start off on your own, because the next journey would be to express yourself and express that design through your vision.
So how does collaboration occur within your architecture firm, especially on a large scale project?
Okay. So we do a couple of large scale projects. Mainly we are mid-sized to medium scale, but we do some large scale projects in office. So the moment that happens, especially something which is of a competition work, etc., then the senior architects and the team leaders and us get together and we try to pitch in different ideas, okay? And then it's more of a dialogue that we speak to each other with our own perspectives of how this design could be. So I think that's the best way you can collaborate on a table with different people's thoughts towards the same solution. And that's how we approach larger projects.
How do you ensure projects are completed on time with budget?
Okay. So it's very important to have all those three aspects in place which I initially spoke about. The first most important thing being the client who has to be educated by you. You need to kind of educate them as to what is a realistic time and what is a realistic budget. You have to understand most of the people in India do not or would not have had consultants before or would not have come to an architect before. So they might not know the real picture of how everything works, right? So some of your clients will even come to you and say, I wanted this design yesterday and I wanted my home day before yesterday, not even for tomorrow. So what happens is it's very important to kind of break them there and then give them a realistic idea of how things work and how professionally you can take care of it. So it's very important to work in hand with all your collaborators. So the client being the first one, the second person being the contractor. Choosing the right contractor is very, very important. Choosing the right set of workers is very important. And then thirdly, it's you also. So you need to be super efficient in terms of your timelines when you design something, and you need to kind of have a structure in your way of working. So you need to be very clear that this is the time that takes to design, then to create working drawings and to create a BOQ, and then to finally execute the project on site. So this needs to be charted out in terms of a structure, and you need to explain this to the client from initial stage. Also, there are PMCs who help you do this, but if you know the structure well, then you can dictate how the entire work gets done in the particular time frame. Also, when you look at it in an entrepreneurial view, the more structured you are and the more time bound you are, the more profitable you will be. If you drag the same project for a long duration of time, which happens due to different aspects, it's not good in terms of your business. So you need to be as structured as possible. So that allows two things to happen. One is the timeline, the second is the budgeting. So you try to keep it well within that. There are a lot of times when you go astray from the budget. It happens because clients might, as they start visioning the project, like during different stage of construction, they start feeling that they could spend somewhere a little more or they could do something better in some place. So the structure again kind of makes it important that you communicate that this decision of changing a specification impacts the overall budget. So if they are aware, then it is fine, and if they agree to it. So structure is very important throughout the case, both for budget and for the time.
So what are some of the common challenges faced during the design project? And can you share a project where you faced one of these and how you could navigate through it?
Okay. So I think again, if we talk about the three pillars of what a project is about, us, client, and the contractor. So all three could have some problem. Usually what we face is the client not having the funds in place. The moment you tackle that, and decision making of a client is very important, that they have to make their decisions on time and allow you to progress in the project. The second person being internally you, that is you being efficient in your work. The third being the contractor. So the contractors can have all sorts of problems like monetary, labor. Nowadays, India has the highest amount of unskilled labor present. So to get unskilled labor to work in a particular project, it's very difficult, and to get good skilled labor is very difficult. So I think these are the important parts, and you can find challenge in every aspect of it every day. As a good architect and a team leader, or someone who's heading a project, it is very important to take that decision and to improvise on that problem that you have, or find the solution as quickly as you can and as maturely as you can. That is what is important.
So how does your firm evaluate?
How does your firm evaluate the success of the project?
Okay. So number one being, when we envision a project in the beginning, if we see through that, and if we are able to make it live the way we've imagined it to be, then I think that's one of our biggest achievements, without deviating from our initial thought. Because during the course of the construction, or during the course of making that project happen, there could be a lot of challenges, like how you asked earlier, financially or contractor wise, or even technically getting the right material to behave the right way, etc. But if you are able to anticipate it and make that project in the way you envisioned from day one, and do it in that way as much as you can, then I think that's where you win completely. And also, that is win for you. The second win is when the client is very happy with the way the project has come up. So it's not opinion based, but it should satisfy the requirement that they had from day one. So if you are able to achieve that, I think it's a win. This is specifically for projects which are personal based, like homes, personal homes or offices and things like that. Not for community projects or large scale projects which cater to a large audience.
So that's the end of our questionnaire, but I just had one more question.
Yeah.
You said, as we know, it's important for a student to have skill sets. So what do you think is the best way a student can get those skill sets? Is it during college, or is it when you're doing an internship?
Okay. So you have to keep learning all the time. It's every time and all the time. Even after you graduate, you're learning even during your architecture school, which is a very important first few building blocks for you guys. The moment you come out into the actual field and start practicing, then it's a different set of skill set that you learn, but the journey of learning keeps happening until you even die probably. So I know it's funny, but I think that's one of the best things that you can do, because you keep evolving as a person, you keep growing as a person. So every few years you see yourself, like you think about yourself what you were a few years back, and then you think of the person that you are today, and it's very, very rewarding to know that you've grown. So I think if you have the right attitude to keep learning, that's like the best.
That's it. Those are the questions we had. Anything else you want to add or you want to say?
I think it covered almost everything that I had in my mind, so it's good.
Okay. Thank you for doing this interview with us. We learned a lot.
You're welcome.